photos. I took around about 787 of them. Once I've removed all the ones that have very obvious family members in them, which I'm going to try and keep these like impersonal. So that's not the right turn of phrase, but I don't really want to be displaying the family in something that's going out publicly. If there are any in here, I'm going to try to gloss over it so that it's not obvious as to who they are. So if you do know who they are, please don't point it out. Um, but yeah, took plenty of photos. I'm going to try and buzz through them pretty quickly, otherwise this video is going to go on for hours. So if you would, please, if there are any that you particularly wish to focus on, then please make use of the pause function on your video playback device, and away we go. So, day one. This is not strictly day one. Day one, we actually just went out for food at the local combini, got some beers on the way back, and then went to sleep. It was pretty good. But yeah, we weren't going to be doing much that night. We got there too late, and we'd been flying a long time. We just needed sleep. So this was the first proper day. We were with a tour guide. This is something of a trend you'll see, that just shrines in the middle of just the middle of quite built-up areas. Actually, it's just in the middle of a city. So the first place she took us as a tourist spot was the Skiji Fish Market. Not the same as the original one, but I think they've moved it. But it's still kind of worth seeing. Just to get an idea of like a typical Japanese market is pretty neat. So, Fishhead, gregarious fishman. Then I took a lot of photos of the skyline and just of the layout of the city, because I find that quite interesting to look at whenever I'm in a new place. Then we went to our first park. Again, there's just a lot of just skyscrapers just outside of the park, but the trees seem to be a fairly good barrier for noise. So it was just like it was a little oasis of calm in the middle of all of that like chaos. Expect a lot of photos of herons, because we don't really get them so much over here. Also, this is just a seating area, but it's just on it, and I love that. And speaking of, this is a drain pipe, which we all thought was really quite charming. It's just a series of tiny little buckets that the water drips down. Then more of that. I believe this was just like a display building that had a like a tea house kind of layout in it. I think it was originally like a significant structure, but you're not allowed to go in there anymore. But I did appreciate. You can take a look from here. Love it. More of the same. More of the same. A nice ornate path. Buildings and buildings and a nice tree. A striking plant. A cool butterfly. I think I took a photo of this because I've never actually seen an aloe plant in the wild, and it's just enormous. Wasn't quite expecting that. And a little pumpkin man. We had arrived around about Halloween, so yeah, that was cool. And then this, in particular, if I scroll in here, you can just about see here, this tree is so ancient and enormous that it's having to be propped up on wooden struts. And if you come over here, you can just about make out that it was planted about 300 years ago. Now, I know that we get trees, I think, at least as old in this country, but it was just the way that has just started leaning over and just engulfing anything that gets in its path that I quite enjoyed. Also, unlike over here, no one's attempted to carve anything into it, so that's cool. More skyscrapers, loving it. This is where we went for lunch on the first real day. We went up to, I think it was floor 50 something of a skyscraper, and there was just a little set of restaurants in there. So this was a view of the park that we've just been to. I think the old tree will be somewhere around. It might be around down here, actually. I'm not entirely certain. I'm pretty sure this is the entrance, though, and it was coming around there, I think. But yeah, just views of the skyline from way up high. There is a swimming pool on top of one of these, I think, if you zoom in, which I don't know if I actually got a photo of it. One of these buildings did have just an honest-to-God swimming pool on top of it, just open to the elements. There is a little stand to keep people from stealing your umbrella, as if anyone actually... actually, I think umbrellas are the one thing that people do sometimes steal. Then, yeah, the interior of the building was lovely. I didn't get any photos in the restaurant. I took a few photos at the stations. I either enjoyed the stations, or we weren't in them long enough for me to really form an opinion of them. But yeah, real efficient, and a real good way to get around. And plus, this 1, 2, 3 of the ever present vending machines. Oh, you grow to love them. You really do. Just oh, this is the scrambled crossing at Shibuya. So I think we just call it the Shibuya Scramble. Bleach, if you're into that. There's just advertising aplenty out there. I'll say you cannot really appreciate being here until you've actually stood there. You can't get your head around the sheer scope of the place. It's unbelievable. Also, take note of this Starbucks because we will be coming back here later, and this is where I got the rest of the photos from. So, that yeah, that is a torii gate leading to, I think it's the Fushimi Inari Shrine. And even just you get those little buildings with the very particular style of roof and the style of stone and that all over the place, and even if they're small, there's a lot of attention put into how they look and how they function. It was a lovely place though. Those are sake barrels, I believe, donated by local businesses, and yet more barrels. And then into the actual shrine proper. Just big wide open space, well maintained, very just clean, pleasant to look at, and very, very, I don't know, just functional and precise. And I really like the way that all of this stuff is just built and laid out. And like even the trees, like the trees, just everything just looks like it belongs there. This was as close to a ceremony as I could get and still use my camera. You could go up and look. You could stand and you could give them you change them say prayers and all the rest of that stuff. But they didn't want you to. That chap over there was keen to make sure that you didn't take photos. I mean, he wasn't unkind about it, but he was keeping an eye on things. Really privileged to arrive when there was a ceremony going on though, and I don't know if that was just good timing on the part of our tour guide. So yeah, more of the same. I don't think we went in there. Then this is Takashita Street. Takashita. Oh yeah. Anyway, it's a prominent location in Neo: The World Ends with You, which is why I took a photo of it. And this is our brief foray into Harajuku, which was absolute bedlam. It's I think known as like the teen haven. It's all very much bright lights, big loud noises. Everything's neon. There's sweets and snacks all over the place, and it's a massive sensory overload. I loved it, but there's an amount of it that you can probably deal with before it gets a little bit overwhelming. So just an entire shop that exists to house gashapon machines, or gachapon, or I'm not really clear on how you pronounce it. I think this was the headquarters of the local nursing outfit. I got a photo of that because my wife's interested, because she's involved. This I got because I think I was just in a bit of a Mallsoft mood, and so I thought I'd just get a photo of just the interior of a Japanese shopping centre. We didn't spend much time in here, but it was really it was really cool to look at. It's not quite like you get at home. Well, depending on where your home is, obviously. Hello Kitty. Enter through the apple, if you please. Giant hand. I don't remember what he was there for. Then this was like a Taito arcade, which we didn't actually get time to go in. I mean, I would have loved to have, but we were on a pretty tight schedule for most of it. Then this is technically day 2. The Sensoji Temple, I believe. These are the outskirts, so there are monuments and shrines and the like. The Tomb of Toda Mosui. They had a lot of food stalls around here, so this is where I got my first takoyaki and my first karaage, I believe. It was a real good time. Got a lot of food. Really enjoyed it. This is the Tesla coil for when the Russians invade the Allies in Command and Conquer. This is fish, and I hope you enjoy fish, because I did, and I took many photos of them. Little shrine, just a peaceful little garden, even though there were many, many people visiting. More fish, a beautiful bridge, a beautiful waterfall, and then the actual main body of the shrine. if you get a little closer, it's again you can sort of get an idea of the scope there, but it really hits you when you're stood there, you know. Um, I was Paper Lantern. Uh, I don't know why I thought open mouth style was funny. I still kind of think it is. But then, it just one thing you'll find in Japan is that you'll be looking at all of this, this grand architecture, and then you'll turn around, and within meters, just you'll be back in the city again. It's just it's almost like a record scratch. And when going from one to the other, it's jarring in ways, but it's when you enter one of these attractions, you do feel like you're removed from the bustle of it all, and you are you're now in a different place. It's quite interesting. Some more cityscape. Good night. This is, I believe, the earthquake monument, which is also a bit of a monument to some of the bombings. There's a better view of that garden later on, but I believe it was supposed to have like a space motif. Then we just a really nicely formed roof. I loved it. This, I believe, was a monument to the children who died during the earthquakes. That was sobering. It always is when you see anything involving kids dying, though. And just more of the actual shrine itself, more fish. We did see quite an it was sort of like a 15-minute video while we were in the earthquake monument of just explaining like what the earthquakes did, what the extent of the damage was, and then explaining the bombings and how people like came back to try to rebuild after the bombs had fallen and perished of horrible radiation poisoning, and that was tricky. What you tend to find at some of these little memorials or shrines and that is that people will leave food and drink behind. And sometimes it's just like a bottle of 1 cup sake. Sometimes it's like a little rice ball, and they're always different. They're always interesting. Some of them are quite, I don't know, almost sort of cute and funny in a way. Big mushroom. Also, just a nice little path. It didn't need to be there, but they just wanted to make it look nice, so it's there. I love it. There's the garden again. It just kids wandering around and doing their thing is really cute over there. I mean, it's cute everywhere, but I love this. So yeah, just beware of falling drunks. And there are literal signs on the transit systems that are saying like, just if you're completely trolleyed, just be careful, and maybe just keep an eye on other people who seem to be exhibiting incredibly drunken behaviour, because they kind of expect you to be. Not this one, but there was a sign a bit later on, I don't think I took a photo of it, that explained that if you do happen to fall off the platform, maybe try and roll underneath the crawl space here, because there's a bit of a gap there for you, and we'll try and get you out when it's safe. This was Sensoji Temple by night, and it's spectacular. This was a very blurry photo of the Tokyo Tower. I think it's the Tokyo Tower. I'm not quite sure, because at this point my feet were absolutely killing me. This is a photo I took for my mate who's a fan of Wolfenstein. I realise that isn't what that symbol is, and I realise it's entirely associated with Buddhism, and it's definitely a positive thing, but I thought he might get a kick out of it, so I took a photo of it. This is I took a photo of this because my dad used to be really interested in sort of this style of sort of statuary. So yeah, just took a photo. I mean, I'm not going to show him; he's passed away. But maybe he can see it. I don't know how that works. Oni, I think. This just the light against that setting really got me. A chaos control for when you finally find that damned third Chaos Emerald. I think I took a photo here on the start of day 2 at the temple because of the enormous amount of incense that was blowing out of that thing. And also, one thing I love when you go there is whenever you go to a restaurant, quite often they will show you what the meal will look like, and you'll just get like a price and you'll see what the meal looks like. But that's all made of plastic. These are also all made of plastic, and I loved seeing the little plastic beers and the little plastic wine. I really liked that. I thought that was really cute. Yeah, oi oi. This is on the way to the Tokyo National Museum. I think I just liked that was called Panda Bridge. This was I just found this particular bit of road like worthy of taking a photo of, just because of how steep it was and just how like the way that they built up the embankment on the side of here, and there's something really caught me about the aesthetic of it. I love that. I love how jaunty the font is, and I love the way that it's displayed. I don't remember who this chap was, unfortunately. I think I just took a photo because I like taking photos of meaningful statues. This is the actual museum itself. And if I go over here and I scroll a bit, zoom a bit further in, I believe these are the mascots. So I think this guy's a little clay doll. I don't remember who she is. I love that they've had, you know, COVID masks. Well, you know, so the like respiratory thing. I forget what you call them, but you know, they're COVID masks, aren't they? But yeah, just stapled to them. I thought that was cool. And more food trucks. You get a lot of that. Serving decidedly. I can't tell from here. It looks like they were sort of more Western safe foods. I think they're probably like if you're ever worried about the food over there, just rest assured that you can get deep fried anything, and you'll probably be fairly comfortable with it. Not pictured over to the right is the set of vending machines where I started experimenting with drinks I didn't know what they were. And that led me to many hours of enjoyment, just drinking random potions from the vending machines. I think the one I got here was the one that I realised after I drunk it might have been highly caffeinated. So, it's gorgeous. The actual just the grounds of the museum are absolutely beautiful. And then you go in and there's exhibits. I won't go through the actual like, you know, the meaning of the exhibits. Although he is the monkey general. I didn't take a photo of all the placards. I believe my father-in-law may have. I just took photos of the exhibits that struck me. Otherwise, museums, I'm happy to go around and have a read. I don't usually take that many direct photos. I love those dragon kind of like, you know, images though. This is the set of 3 kinds of sword fittings with 30 dragons. I do not know why I picked this to take a photo of. An ornate fan, an ornate plate. I like a good ancient map. And I like a good, like, I just like depictions of places and, you know, like regions and, you know, like what people thought that travel looked like, things like that. And stuff like this enormous scroll here really, really do it for me. I don't know, I think there's just some kind of nostalgia for the stuff that I used to read as a kid in there, like, you know, The Hobbit, and I think I had like a Farthingwood Friends book that had something similar in that, to that as well. I don't think you could actually get in there, but I just liked how tucked away and, you know, sort of serene it looked. I think I took a photo of this guy because I really liked his like dual-handled instrument, and just the look of him, like he's about to go and join a fellowship. Just that guy's going to go and get some stuff done, and he might be completely drunk while he does it, but it's fine. This, I like to think of this as the most accurate depiction of a hangover I think I've ever seen, which, to my mind, is some manner of horse demon attempting to bray your head in while all you're able to do is just protest. Is the faces on these things, they're grotesque, but I absolutely love them to bits. I've only just noticed that she's carrying a baby, and also just it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I love it. I believe at one point in the picture there's a group of people that have like, they seem to be sneaking off and they found salvation with like a monk or something. Um, it's just a bit of an example of how you quite often get like form and function. Like it's just most places I go to, I wouldn't think of looking up to see if the ceiling looks quite decorative, but you get that a lot in Japan. I know you do a lot more in like museums and like stately homes and stuff over here, but oh, here we go. Shaped like a demon at its toilet. Shaped like a drunk old man. Love it. And the weather had started to improve as we left, so this is the exterior of the museum, photographed from the entrance. And there was like a little festival going on around here. We didn't actually go over and look at it, but it was interesting the amount of singing and dancing that was going on there, with how reserved people typically tend to be. But it's true what they say, though. You get a couple of drinks in people, and they'll loosen up pretty severely. It's the only place we could go for lunch because it was the only place that seemed to have any seating, and even then we had to wait a quarter of an hour. Which, to be fair, with how many people were down there, it wasn't bad at all. They were very, very efficient. So more monuments, as you do. Just a golden temple. I believe we found a schnauzer there. So more of that. More dragon. I like some dragon. Bit of modern art, if you're into that kind of thing. That's fine. This, I believe I summed up to my wife as, every bloke's had a go at least once, but not many make it. which is a bit vulgar, and I'm sorry, but I still think that's quite funny. And then this is what I think they refer to as Old Town, which is what I think of more as like if you're watching some kind of slice of life anime where the protagonists are walking home from school. This is kind of more what it looks like than the actual city streets. It's more residential, I suppose. May peace prevail on earth. Fair sentiment. I'm a little upset that I didn't get a clear photo of this. I don't know what the writing was on the side of that dog, but it is farting the most tremendous rainbow, and I love that. This is a shrine we went to at night. Again, just shrines all over the place. I believe they're prayers hanging from it there, and just another just really beautiful bit of scenery. Another, I found that quite striking with just like the light against the dark. Also, I think I might have been losing the plot by this point because I was exhausted. That was around about the point where I think about a week from here, I start trying to take as many baths as possible just to soak my feet. A fairly tame bird that I got a fairly close-up picture of. This is the giant golden sperm. Never really found out what that was about. But we were getting ready to take a boat trip. So I love how that that tower is just piercing the low-hanging cloud. And then this, not a lot to say about the actual boat trip. It was just like a standard tourist cruise thing. So you got some like tannoy announcements about what was on your left, what was on your right. They came in English and Japanese, and it was just to let you know the different companies and the different sightseeing spots and stuff. But this kid, as they were leaving, I think he kept sort of giving us a bit of a side eye every now and then. It was just a school trip. We didn't realise it was a school trip getting on the boat until they all just came and filed on in front of us. But they all filed on, and their teachers taking photos of them and stuff, and they all had worksheets and that. But as they were getting up to leave, I think they got off before us. He sort of turns around and gives me like one last like uncertain look, and I gave him just sort of like the standard like Yorkshire nod of acknowledgement, like when you're out early in the morning, you see someone walking a dog, you give them the nod because you might say good morning if you know them, but otherwise it's just like I'm greeting you, and we're not going to get too far into the conversation, but just know that good morning, I wish you well, kind of thing, and it's pretty standard in the north. It's just like a really low level greeting, and I sort of idly just sort of like gave him the nod, and he returned it, and I'm like, oh God, I've breached the cultural barrier. This kid gets it. I love it. I was absolutely overjoyed about that. So yeah, Pokemon, they just get everywhere. Also, if you want to stop terrorism, dial 110, and get the anime police. I assume that the police in Japan will arrive on a mech to stop terrorism. I don't know what any of that's about. Also, I don't think Tokyo was quite that neon when we saw it, all that built up. I mean, it was very built up, but I don't know. It might have just been where they've got the picture from. More skyscrapers, another park, and prepare yourself for herons. So I love there was a little like just bridge just going through the water feature. Heron, another nice bridge. Heron. Just so many fish, and I think they all expected to be fed by tourists because you could get some really good photos of them. Just some interesting purple berries I found. Out of focus heron, better heron. Wait for it. Telescope heron. Whip 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 whip. So yeah, I found them quite graceful and quite photogenic. They liked a good photo. I think one of them was in the midst of catching a fish at this point, and I got some just surprisingly good shots of the thing as well. I'm quite pleased with that. It's not amazing, but it's not bad for a complete rank amateur. Yeah. A lot of them are unfortunately out of focus, but I think I was using I think this is the first time I was using the long distance zoom lens. So yeah, and then did I actually get one of him taking off? That's really cool. I think I tried to get some of him flying as well, but wasn't able to actually catch that. Yeah, Daksu. I don't know what I was taking a photo of here. I don't remember what this was at all, but I couldn't stop looking at it. I think this was our first step into Akihabara. Oh, like Electric Town. This is where otaku come and and definitely do their thing on your Mac Millennium. There's just anime everywhere you look here. Buckets of anime. Um, Gashapon shop. We actually went in this one. There were some really odd ones, like Tremors. I don't know that Tremors is actually popular in Japan, but you could get yourself some Graboids, so that was fine. Warhammer 40k chibi figures. This is definitely heresy. And then just way more just anime and all kinds of stuff. And I think I think some kind of maid cafe. We never went to a maid cafe, which is a fact I am profoundly grateful for, because I think I would have just felt really skeeved out. I don't think I could deal with it, to be honest. So the following day, this looks like it's a castle. It's still in Tokyo at this point. So, Venus. So, uh, um, yeah, it was lovely. More fish. More fish. Doot, 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 doot. I always think that looks like a Pokemon evolving. Fish, fish. Just beautiful trees, beautiful paths. Everything was lovely. There was like just a little route leading up to a waterfall up there, if I remember correctly. Um, oh yeah, I think that was the source of it. Yeah, not a waterfall so much, more of a fountain. You know, bamboo. Never seen it in the world before. That I believe was a barracks for soldiers, and you just a nice gravel path. And just the design of that really struck me. Loved that. So yeah, lamps. Just cool spiderweb. I wasn't just taking photos of local sites, just anything that I caught that was interesting. This was the infamous corn soup. I saw it in a vending machine and thought, oh, it'd be fun to drink that, won't it? Got vended it. It was it was hot enough to I don't know. I think it was about to go critical actually. It took some doing to drink it, I'll be honest, and it was not the easiest flavour to get down, just because it's not what I'm particularly accustomed to, even though I do enjoy sweet corn, like, chicken and sweet corn soup and stuff, but that was just pure corn. I mean, it was okay. I felt like I'd had a snack, so that was nice. You get a lot of those all over the place, and by and large, they are, I believe, used as sort of like warding against fire. So the idea is that you put one of those up and you say, this is supposed to protect the building from fire. It's uncanny the number of buildings you'll see where they'll have a little placard that said, and then it burnt down. But, Heron, I absolutely do not remember what that was. I mean, it's more modern than that for sure, but that's frightening. This was just a really pleasant train station. This is where I went, and I was getting tired again. Everyone else had gone for a quick bathroom break, so I went and just had a bit of a sit down while I was waiting for them to come out. And just because I'd sat down on the ground in a train station, someone actually came up to me and asked if I was okay and if I needed a drink. And she spoke like reasonable English, but trying to explain to her it's okay, I'm just tired and my feet hurt, did seem to cause some confusion. I just stood up again and it sort of sorted everything out. But it's the first time anyone was actually asked if I was okay, just because I looked a bit, exhausted, which was quite nice. It did make me very conscious of like sitting down in places where you're not supposed to strictly sit down. But I didn't think it'd be that much of an issue, to be honest. But then over here, it's less of a problem, and over there, it's not something that you do. So lesson learned, and there wasn't any offence taken, so that's fine. Kanahai no Omise in Kidiland. Yeah. Apologies for my pronunciation. Dental clinic. I don't know why I took a photo of that. Oh yeah, just the place at night was cool. I mean, everyone was cool at night. I found the Triforce several times actually. It was like just the ultimate dollhouse. It was like a traditional home, but with a lot of wee little pieces of furniture and yeah, it was very nice. Yeah, Triforce again. I may have been ever so slightly drunk at this point. I don't really remember. And this is the Scramble again. So, Dance Tokyo, Shibuya Scramble Square. I think this was from the Starbucks. I do have a few more photos that were taken on my camera phone of things like me just stood with Hachiko. I don't know if they're on this reel though. I don't think they are. But yeah, that's just from a view from the Starbucks, which was pretty reasonable actually, of just the scramble doing its thing. There was a guy I think over in this corner that was just holding up a sign reading "free hugs." I'm like, oh cool, we're doing that social media clout thing then, are we? Oh, there he is. There he is, wearing a scream mask or whatever. I wasn't terribly impressed, I'll be honest. It ran into a couple of vloggers as well. I have no idea who any of them were, unfortunately. But I don't follow vloggers, so that's fine. Uh, this guy was uncanny, and I hated him and his little gloved hands. And I think he was looking to wear our skin, honestly. I think he was multilingual though, so that was cool. Um, we could not work out what that was, and we were all deeply afraid of it. I don't think I've ever ordered a cider with like Guinness top, and I don't understand how the Guinness is floating there because Guinness is a famously thick and heavy beverage. This was our first foray into Ekiben. So you can see, I believe my wife got. Oh no, this was mine, I think actually. So I got the chicken karaage set and some salami cheese. This was okay if a little dry. This was fine, but a reminder that they don't make a lot of cheese there. Um, I think I only got a photo of this because my mum used to take her elderly dog around in a little, like a little push chair because she was having trouble getting around, was the dog, and so that's how they got around. So she got some fresh air at least when they went for a walk, and she got to go and be outside for a while. That was nice. Bar Harley Quinn. All kinds of names of places that just don't really make a lot of sense. Um, yeah, these are the famous like drain covers that are just very decorative, like you don't like in a way that you don't get here. At this point, I believe we're in Matsumoto. So there was a really neat cat down this trench at one point. Just we spent quite a long time just checking out a cat. Um, all kinds of things that you're not supposed to do, like attempting to destroy the benches is a no-no. You shouldn't, destroy trees or play golf specifically. But it's okay to practice clowning. Um, yeah, it's I like a park that's very clear about what you are and aren't allowed to do. This was where I believe a child was about to get consumed by a horde of birds at some point, and we just stood there and let it happen. He seemed to be doing okay. But yeah, just more really cool dragon kind of iconography. They have a street down there that has a shrine to frogs. We spent quite a bit of time wandering around there because a lot of a lot of the statues and the carvings were really cool. Like if we get a bit further along here, oh yeah, we got down to the river. That was nice. Got some photos of that, and just stunning backdrop as well. I'd like that little waterfall. I felt quite at peace down there actually, but then yeah, there's just like more frog stuff going on down there, and there's uh, little frog studying. That was cool. Little frog. Oh, I like this. Open 10 until 7. Maybe. Just more frogs doing their thing. This frog is COVID conscious, so we like that. Um, Lovely little post box, just like straight out of an animation. I love that, and just nice little lanterns. This is the one. So I forget exactly what you can look it up. I forget what this symbolizes, but just this frog is absolutely about to wreck shop. I love that. And just a tiny shrine. Like, it was just as wide as this, just next to someone's house. This was Matsumoto Castle, which I've said in the video about it was one of the few still standing and non-recreated castles that have survived the war. And again, it's stunning to look at the area. Feces of pigeon is sometimes falling. Please be careful overhead. I'm going to apologise. A lot of these photos are fairly wonky because apparently that's just how my eyes are. Door boobs, or wall boobs. We saw a lot of these all over the place, and that's just how we came to know them. It's a bit puerile, but it gave us pleasure. So, So we were about to cross over into the actual castle. More fish. Castle grounds. This is where I got my one and only packet of Coolish ice cream. Quite pleasant, can recommend. You'd have to give it a minute to melt though. So yeah, more view of the castle. And today's seasonal menu is Meister's Drip. The inside of the castle, you'll note this is the access to the next level of the castle. If you're not comfortable with stairs, can I advise you, please give this castle a miss because you are going to have a real hard time. I mean, they give you enough time to get up there in your own, in your own comfort, but it's still a little bit arduous. So there's more of those protection against fire things, which do appear to have worked here. And yeah, just soldiers used to hang out in here until there were, it was time to go out and fight. Also, the stairs, I believe, were part of the defense because you are not getting up those quickly, especially when you're trying to fight off like 15 guys at the top. Fish. We came back to the castle at night, I think. Yeah, we did. So this was all lovely. Right, we get into better focus a little later on. It is beautiful, and I think here I was just trying to emphasise exactly how clear and still the water is, that you can get just such a decent reflected photo. For World Osteoporosis Day, step up for bone health. Yet more fish. That's not my flash, by the way. And just nice, just whimsical night lit paths. This, I've forgotten where this is. It's another... Oh, this will be, I think, in Kyoto. We went to a park that was hosting a... give me a second, I've got a clanging headache. They were hosting a fairly large parade. So we got photos of the grounds, we got photos of some of the volunteer performers. So I'll give it half a second going through these because some of them were really spectacular. It should be noted that I'm quite close to the ground here because there were a lot of people just crowding to view the whole thing. I'm, especially around there, I'm quite tall. I think I'm just shy of 6 foot. So I was crouching to get all of these just so that everyone behind me could see. That was a treat for my knees. But yeah, he's just doing his thing. And just the professionalism on that guy, man. Yeah, some of them seem to be really enjoying themselves actually. So yeah, a few people dressed as nobles, a few people dressed as geishas. There was some musical, well, there's some like marching band style performers. Plenty of horses. The number you could tell the ones that were kind of like younger because they were being very careful about making sure that they had full clearance because that's the top of the gate there, and a lot of their poles were just about to breach. So it's like, yeah, we're not sure. They all made it. It was fine. A lot of just respect and decorum. Although I'm glad I got this guy like mid-step. So yeah. Where that? Where that? Oh, I think I got this because he'd only just managed to get it on the other side, and yeah, looks pretty pleased. Yeah. A lot of the volunteers were kind of older, or like mostly older guys anyway. So yeah. Is he aware of what I'm doing? He might be, yeah. I mean, I was watching it, but I was trying to get as many photos of it as I could, so I'd remember it all. Um, like that guy will kill 5 men before they've even fallen to the ground. Yeah. Oh, I love this, dude. It was a heck of a garment. So yeah, just a lot of procession. I'm still smiling remembering all this. Oh, those guys! It looked like traditional sort of performers. They were. I couldn't get a decent. I couldn't get a decent photo of them really going for it, but they were dancing and singing, and it seemed like it was supposed to be quite like pratfally sort of. Well, not pratfally, but like, I don't know, it's sort of absurdist in a way. It seemed very traditional, sort of old-fashioned comedy, but I didn't get it, but it was entertaining. I think these people were supposed to be representing like carrying carrying sort of the Lord's treasures, something like that. Um, yep. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, there's not a lot I can say about. I believe there's like a specific women's parade section, which I think we might be coming up to now. We didn't stay for the whole thing. We caught about an hour of it, I think, which the guide told us would be like about enough to get the gist of it without spending the entire day there. Which, to be fair, we're quite appreciative of because we did fill the day out completely. Yeah, we're just heading off now. So that was Golden Pavilion. This it was another just really nice, open, picturesque area. Just plenty of like nice water features and trees. The actual pavilion itself is it's another one of those where until you've actually seen it, you can't really grasp it. It really shines. It's incredible. Also, tried to get some decent long distance photos of I believe it's a phoenix that's supposed to be up there, like the whole Suzaku thing. Um, Also, I quite like that just an incredibly disrespectful bird. Like, yeah, no, my temple now. So yeah, Mo of the Gardens. You're not actually allowed into the pavilion. Oh yeah, he was massive. It's just it's off limits to the public, but you can get a decent view from the outside of it though. This is one of those you know you're supposed to try and throw change, and if you get it into the well, then I don't know, blessings, luck, something like that. I don't think I succeeded. Um, So yeah, more places to just offer prayers. Anytime you see any of those boxes with the ridges, there'll be like holes in between the ridges, and you're supposed to put coins in there. Then I think you clap twice, and you offer whatever prayer you wish to. Freak, just random English. I like a bit of decoration English. And this, I believe, is us just about to leave. Oh, when you go around I think it's the back of the pavilion. There's also this like little Zen temple thing. I believe there was supposed to be like a number of rocks here, and you were supposed to try to count them all. But I think they always came up one short, and I think the idea was that like the fact that there was one missing was supposed to be a prompt for like, you know, contemplation and meditation. That's the kind of ephemeral philosophical stuff that I don't really cotton to. I'll be honest, but the building itself was definitely worth a look. No, oh, okay. So there was no going any further than that. So yeah, just around the outside, it was a bit quieter, and there was still plenty to look at. And that's just cool. Whoever you are, that's cool. More of those just nice stairs. Everything just nicely laid out, nicely planned, nicely made. Um, we are on our way to what I dubbed the Dubious Canoe, which is probably in Kyoto. I think we're still in Kyoto. So, yeah, just a soccer stadium with a soccer monk and the football diner. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call it soccer because I know that's going to be fairly triggering for Brits, but you know. Also, the Japanese Drone Soccer Federation, which I haven't looked up because I don't want my hopes to be dashed about what it actually is, because I just want it to be people playing soccer using drones. Also, you can see me in my terrible shorts with just northern legs, devoid of colour and thick. Right. Up the yep. So fog-capped mountains or herons. I believe we may have been on the Dubious Canoe at this point, so we were taking a trip down to the sort of the next destination, but we were taking it on a like a what they call river rapids. They weren't rapids, but you know. So yeah, I don't. So that guy was doing a lot of punting and eventually a lot of steering when he got tired. I don't think I took a photo of the guy who kept screaming "big wave" at us. So it was lovely to look at. I think I was getting a bit grumpy at this point because I was a little bit tired. But I perked up a little bit for reasons that will become apparent in a moment. So yeah, just trundling along. Just a lot of just nice scenery again. I I, I enjoyed looking at it. Oh, that's Big Wave Guy there at the end. So yeah. Oh, my first time seeing a wild monkey. It's not a good photo. There's a slightly better one up ahead. There we go. And just a monkey just living its life. I was really taken with that. Oh yeah, this is why I started feeling better. Right when we got to the end, this pulled up alongside us, and sort of like matched our course, and they were serving like just hot snacks and drinks off the back of it. So I'm like, well, it's 10 in the afternoon, 10 in the morning, so I'm just saying to the sister-in-law, so we're getting a beer then, or what? And yeah, got some breakfast beer. Felt pretty good after that. Then we got off and went for a bit of a wander. I was unfortunately forced to neck the beer rather than just walking around with it on the street, which I think would have been okay, but I didn't want to do because you're not supposed to walk and eat and drink. Pardon me. So yeah, the area. Oh, we're coming up onto the Arashiyama bamboo forest, I believe. So this is mochi with an entire goddamn strawberry in it. It was pretty good. That is a child being consumed by a fish. Or taki. Is that a taiyaki? I don't know. Yeah, this is the bamboo forest. My photography skills and quality of camera do not necessarily do it the justice that most tourist photos do. I haven't really like touched up the colour or fiddled with any of the settings on the camera. So what you see is pretty much as it looks naturally. It is still incredible, and it's still definitely worth a look. Um, so yeah, there were just little shrines in the middle of it, more torii gates. Yeah, a really neat spider. Tanuki. You're going to have to get used to Tanuki, and you're going to have to get used to their testicles, because they get around a bit. And also, just the face on that is wonderful. Uh, so yeah. It, the weather absolutely spoiled us the entire time. It was beautiful almost every day. I think it rained on like the first day, and even then only a bit. This was the local train station. I forget, was this? Yeah, this must have been Kyoto. It was just how tall and bright it was, and just really airy and open. I loved it. We had a bit of a wander around. Oh, this is coming up to. This is where I think down here. There are a lot of the older traditional buildings. If you see any photos of Kyoto, it's probably going to be around here. I think just down here, I tripped up down there. There's a hotel that we went to for dinner. I went to just a hotel restaurant. We weren't staying there, and got surprisingly amazing food. And it's also got a really decent pint of beer there. And finding beer that isn't Kirin or what's the other one now? The one that you tend to Asahi. Is a little bit uncommon because they tend to have those two on draft. They had them bottled, and it was like a London ale, and it was actually a really solid attempt. Really enjoyed it. And like I'm a little bit of a beer snob, a little bit. I mean, I'll drink anything, but I know what I like, and that was absolutely fine. We went to a tea ceremony, proper traditional stuff. I didn't take any photos of the ceremony actually happening because I didn't want to be weird about taking a photo of the lady, but it was very very serene and very very I don't know mindful. I want to say. I will say on this corner here were three German tourists, and for some reason all the male German tourists we saw while we were over there were the tallest gentlemen I have seen in my life. So yeah, just an awful lot of just really respectable looking politicians, as you do. This was a restaurant, and it looked exclusive as hell. Like we didn't even try to book in. What was it actually? It was La Bombance or Bombanche, possibly. I don't know. Depends on what language you're dealing with. So yeah, more shrines. More shrines. Hey kids, you into jazz candy? This might be... Oh, more fish. I think it is still Kyoto. I think I took a photo of that because I like the word rotunda. Um, no lavages in the castle. Very good. Horse. Oh, that was lovely. Yeah, I think there was a flower show going on. And that is us leaving yet another sort of castle. You tend to find in castles there'll often be like a main place that you wander through, and then there'll be like a side place with like a little miniature, like with like more museum style pieces. Um, if ever anyone says you have to take your shoes off a lot in Japan, this is the kind of place you'll definitely have to do it. And when you go there, they give you a little bag to put your shoes in, which you can carry around with you. Which, in a lot of ways, I'm actually kind of glad I wasn't wearing my boots because they're quite heavy to carry around. Um, but yeah, this was another really pleasant looking shopping mall. I love that fountain. I think it was leaking a little bit in a couple of places. Can do. It was also the place that we stopped for. I think it was lunch. We got Chinese food in the end, and that was the first place I'd ever actually successfully managed to say to someone, "Sorry, where's the toilet?" And it turned out that they didn't have one, and I had to go into the shopping mall. But you know, oh, this is Hiroshima. Actually, that might have been Hiroshima as well. Um, this is the A bomb dome, so you can see it. Well, I mean, I've got better photos of it, but you can see how little there is left of it, and it's yeah, a lot of offerings. People leave bottled water behind quite a lot, as well as the 1 cup sake and that. Yeah, if anything is going to change the way you feel in general, this is going to do it. And I still feel a little bit strange. I, you get birds perching on there. You get birds just doing what they're doing, but you get a really close view of just how much this thing has been stripped away, and this is considered to be one of the things that stood. There's nothing left of it. It's a shell. I mean, the thing detonated just above it, apparently. These are monuments to, like, I think one of these is a monument to the children. I think this is like a peace monument, hence the doves. Although this might be the one to the children, actually. To the children that used to, like, have to work during the war that, will have lost their lives because they got bombed. It's dreadful. And then there's like a peace park here. That flame is supposed to stay lit until such a time that I believe it's when humanity has finally decommissioned all of its nuclear armaments. It's sad to think that that's probably not going out anytime soon. I think this is it's intended to be like a mausoleum kind of thing, but I believe the names of everyone who perished are inside of this. The 815 monument, yeah, the time the A-bomb was dropped towards the hypercenter. So it's surrounded by just chunks of masonry. And yeah, just in the centre of a fountain, it just depicts a clock set to 8:15 in the morning. Which got one of the things that just masonry and all that, but one of the things that really upsets me about the idea of it was that so many people were probably just on their way to work or just starting the day, and it was just another day for them, and then just all of a sudden your life ends. It's terrible, terrible. And then you walk out of the Peace Park, and you don't go too far away, and all of a sudden you're back in the lights of the city, and Kirin beer, incidentally, Kirin beer, it's fine. I'm not really a fizzy light beer person, though, I'll put it that way. And Hiroshima Sewer, just a really nice light piece. I'm going to keep going on here until we get to Kure, I think. I don't know who they are, but I like to believe that they're the Japanese equivalent of the Chuckle Brothers. In fact, I think we are on the way to Kure here, so I will start another video, because this one's getting a little bit long.